Okay, here we are on week 9, guidepost number 9. And what we're looking at this week, kind of building upon what happened this past Sunday, is the whole question of accountability. Accountability is a concept I'm very familiar with from my work in the domestic violence community, mostly working with offenders. It's all about holding the offenders accountable or constructing accountable relationships. And certainly it's an issue in this election season, where we have elected officials that we want to hold accountable. Right? But it's a much less often thought of within the informal kinds of relationships that we have within living with intention. And so we don't think about very often the ways in which we are mutually accountable. How are we accountable with and for each other as we travel on this road? So I want to suggest some things to you and invite you to come Sunday evening with some thoughts about the ways in which you are accountable and how it is you want to construct accountability with others. Okay. First thing is that if we're going to be accountable, we are accountable within the construct of some kind of agreement. We have decided how it is we're going to be with each other. Now, sometimes this is a formal kind of contract. Typically, it's much less formal, certainly in informal relationships like the ones that we have. But one of our members is already working on, hasn't a couple times presented about a very specific set of rules, concepts, principles by which she wants to construct accountability in her life. So let's be thinking about this. What would accountability look like for us? So it's in the construct of a kind of an agreement, and typically we think of that agreement as being with another individual or perhaps a group of individuals. So it's about to whom or with whom am I accountable? Maybe a particular person, like our marriage vows. That's a kind of here's how we're going to be for each other. Or it may be a business contract, or it may be when we're elected to a public office or hired for a particular job. There's certain sets of expectations that we have about how it is we're going to be with each other and in relationship with the group. Okay, so that's accountability with and for an individual. Sometimes the accountability is to a principle, to an idea. Federal officials always are installed in office by taking an oath to uphold the Constitution in many different kinds of positions. Certainly within the church, somebody gets installed. There's a kind of set of agreements that we have that we actually speak to, so that we are constructing this with each other and with certain principles, certain ideals. Okay. But since we normally think of accountability, and it comes up for us in the idea of holding someone accountable, it has to do with challenging someone who is not keeping to what we understand to be the construct of the agreement. Somebody's not doing what they're supposed to do, and so we're challenging them. But I want to suggest to you that if accountability is about constructing relationships in which we know what we can expect of each other and we're showing up in ways that are trusting, it's not just about challenging people when they're not accountable. It's supporting them to become more accountable. I want to suggest to you that accountability is both about challenging and supporting, and we want to be able to maintain a certain balance with that. Okay, so with that as our framework, I want to invite you to join us Sunday evening as we continue our travels on the road, looking at the ways in which we are accountable. What are the structures and how does that look for us? All right? I hope to see you Sunday evening.